Are we ready on the left? Ready on this side? Call a Shakopee City Council meeting for September 16th, 2025 to order. If you could please take the roll.
Councilmember Delaney.
Here.
Councilmember Whiting.
Here.
Councilmember Contreras.
Here.
Councilmember Laura.
Here.
Mayor Lehman.
Here. Item number 3, if you could join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Item number 4, approval of the agenda. Is there any changes to the agenda?
Nothing from staff, sir.
Changes from council? Councilor Lara?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councilor Contreras. Any discussion on the motion? Discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. Item number 5 is our consent agenda. Is there any changes to the consent from staff?
No, sir.
Changes from council? Wishes, Mr. Whiting?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Mr. Delaney? Before we move on, we'll have Mr. Reynolds read the consent agenda, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. These are the consent agenda items for Tuesday, September 16th of 2025. 5A amends and adopts some financial policies. 5B approves the wetland replacement plan for the Eliana Estates development improvements. 5C is a monthly financial report for August. 5D is the fall certification of delinquent sewer and storm drainage accounts. 5E declares amounts, orders the preparation of proposed assessments, and sets a public hearing date for delinquent false alarm and mowing services bills. 5F is a dog bag dispenser request donation for Savannah Oaks HOA in Southbridge. 5G approves parking restrictions on Zumbro Avenue south of County Road 78. 5H is a resolution supporting Minnesota suburban transit providers. 5I declares amounts, orders the preparation of proposed assessments, sets a public hearing date for delinquent refuse bills. 5J is a declaration of surplus audio-visual equipment. 5K is a roadway de-icing cooperative purchasing adventure. 5L accepts Minnesota Department of Public Safety's grants toward Zero Deaths Enforcement Program Grant Award. 5M is an acceptance of the Minnesota Department of Public Safety's DWI Traffic Safety Officer Program Grant Award. 5N is approval of the September 2nd, 2025 City Council minutes. 5O approves a budget amendment for the CSAH 101 and Shenandoah Drive intersection improvements. 5P is a sanitary sewer manhole repair. 5Q is a change order for playground at Jackson Commons with Compman installation. And 5R declares vehicles as surplus from general lane and approves their disposal.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. We do have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 6 would be public comment. If you're here in the audience on an item that is not on our agenda, now would be the time to come up to the table. Give us your name and address, and we'd love to hear from you. So if you're here for an item not on the agenda. Scott County Prosecutor, Mr. Hosevar, welcome. Nice to see you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Again, Ron Hosevar, Scott County Attorney. I saw people's kind of eyes get wide when I walked in. I'm not here for any reason, really, other than to introduce myself. I think most of you I've met before, but if you recall, every so often I try to get to all the city's council, and just for this purpose to reintroduce myself and field any questions that you have within the 5-minute time period now. Obviously, most of the contact you have with my office is through the criminal prosecution, juvenile through adult, ordinance violations through murder, through the Scott Joint Prosecution Association, which I think is still a good model going forward. If the council ever wants a more formal presentation just about the Scott County Attorney's Office / Scott Joint Prosecution Association, I'm glad to do that anytime. Scott County Attorney's Office, we're bustling. We're very busy. with no publications anymore, nobody really knows what's going on. I think right now we're prosecuting 5 homicides. So we're busy, we've got our hands full. So again, just here to introduce myself, let you know that the office is there. Any questions you have concerning anything that's going on in your city, ordinance-wise or criminal prosecution-wise, we're certainly glad to answer those questions and make sure you're getting the service that you need. Mr. Reynolds is in contact with us when need be, and we're certainly willing to work together and do what we have to make sure everything's being taken care of. So that's all I'm here for, is to let you know we're there, let you know who I am. And I'm certainly I can answer any questions you have right now if you have any. Otherwise,
Thank you for stopping in, Mr. Osvar. Mr. Whiting?
Yeah, I just want to follow up on the joint prosecution. Now, this goes back before my history, and
goes back a ways.
there is smarter people than us here at the council that put that together. Mr. Reynolds, I think that's been quite a good thing for the city. If you want to comment a little on that.
Yeah, it really has been. It's not just for us, but for all the cities in the county. In the old days, way before all of us, each city had different prosecutors, and they may look at different things, different crimes or ordinance violations a little differently. Now, with a centralized a place that does all of the prosecutions and handling all of those issues, Mr. Hosevar's office can deliver that service for all of us. And frankly, when you look at it, I grumble about the cost, but that's what I do that all the time. But the reality is it's much cheaper, and we're getting a higher value than we ever possibly could do if all of the individual cities were trying to do this on their own. So I will always hold Mr. Hosevar to try to keep the cost down. But that being said, it's an exceptional value for us as a city and for our residents as well.
It's a consistent way to prosecute everyone in the county in the same sphere of influence,
sir.
I guess.
Yep.
So that's all I had.
And a great value.
If we want to keep the cost down, we have to not have any laws being broken.
There is that, yeah.
the budget's always a concern, even with, I've kind of got, my ledger has kind of 2 sides, Scott Joint and County, and trying to keep the budget on both of those. As your commissioner, I can tell you, we're always working on the budget, and they get sick of hearing from me saying, well, this is public safety, I should not get cut at all. But that's kind of the real life we're living in right now with all the budget stuff going on nationally, state, local, it affects us all. But going back to Scott Joint, yeah, it is a good model. I think if you talk to law enforcement, we call it a one-stop shop. They know, they have a question, they know where to call. It's one office. They got the prosecutors in there, and they know who to contact.
I go back to the days of remembering city attorney, was her name Karen Marty? Is that name correct? That was quite a while ago.
Sure.
My gray is showing. The one thing I would be curious in is what you're seeing as trends in the county compared, because we see Shakopee's trends. We get reports from our police, chief of police and staff. And I'm wondering if our trends are consistent with the rest of the county, or if we're seeing different things than outlying areas that are much smaller. Or is the trends just pretty much static across the county?
It's pretty static. We're obviously not getting to the homeless issues to the severity as, Hennepin County, so to speak. You saw probably in the papers or heard on the news what happened there last night in Hennepin County with one of their homeless areas, which is just tragic. So we're hoping to keep what's north of the river. You don't want that crime drifting down here. I consider myself an aggressive prosecutor. My staff, follows my direction, so they're aggressive prosecutors, and so that's kind of my mindset, is to be an aggressive prosecutor. But going back to your question, yeah, it's pretty static across the board. Hate to phrase it this way, but your domestics and DUIs just never seem to really go up or down. They're just always there. We can count on it. Every day we're gonna have people in custody for domestics and DUI. I think at the day after Labor Day, we had 14 in custodies throughout the county, not just Shakopee. But the majority of them were DUIs and domestics.
So back to your, no Shakopee outliers on the data anyway.
No, obviously with your population, you're the biggest city, so you do have more files. But per capita, it's going to be even out, pretty even out.
Static per capita, okay. Mr. Lara?
You mentioned DUIs. What about statistics on like drug use?
On what?
Drug use, like drug
Drug use?
convictions?
I couldn't quote a statistic for you right now. They're tougher to test on the road, and it's going to be even worse once marijuana really gets going. In my opinion, fortunately for the state, they haven't been good about getting the licenses out, so we haven't had to deal with it too much yet. But there still is no good roadside test for marijuana, and there's really no cutoff. Like you have a cutoff for DUIs, 0.08. What's the cutoff for marijuana? We don't know. Is this going to be, are you under the influence or not? Then we have to figure out how to prove that in court. Officer has to figure out how to prove that, or not prove that, but determine that on the side of the road. Were they under the influence, or were they just a bad driver? It's all going to be really a learning experience once that really hits. I don't have a rosy outlook like some people do.
So, Mr. Lara, was your question specifically for drugs in general or the DUI side of the
Drugs in general. So like your like I think was heroin an issue in
Heroin,
Shakopee for a
meth,
while? Yeah,
meth.
like the heart, the heroin, meth.
Fentanyl.
You have drugs in general, fentanyl is huge. Meth is still there. People think meth has gone away. It's not gone away. Still there. Heroin, not so much. I mean, it is. We still see it, but it's fentanyl, meth, cocaine, typically.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, thanks for the visit.
Thank you, Mr. Osevar, for
Again,
stopping
anytime
in.
you need something, give me a call. Mr. Reynolds knows how to get hold of me quickly, and I'll come back anytime.
Very
Thank
good,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
This is a public comment period. If there's anybody in the audience that would like to address the city council on an item that is not on our agenda, now would be the time to do so. Feel free to step up, and we'd love to hear from you. Last call. All right. Item number 7 would be business removed from the consent agenda. There was nothing removed. We'll move to item number 8A, which is a public hearing for the issuance of refunding bonds for Benedictine Living Community and Shakopee LLC. It's conduit debt. Mr. Whiting.
I'll make a motion to open a public hearing.
Is there a second to the motion? Councilor Contreras, discussion on the motion? Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Public hearing is now open.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Public hearing tonight is on the request from Benedictine Living Community of Shakopee LLC for the issuance of refunding bonds to refund revenue bonds originally issued to finance the construction of Benedictine Living Community located at 1705 Windermere, which consisted of 116 independent living apartments, 43 assisted living units, and 24 memory care units. The borrower is requesting that the city issue revenue refunding bonds in a principal amount up to $65 million. This will be conduit debt of the city, meaning the city will have no financial obligation and there will be no financial impact to the city. All costs associated with the refinancing, which would include legal fees, will be the responsibility of BHS. The city will receive a fee as part of this transaction. And then also with us is Julie Eddington, who's the attorney at Kutek Rock, who represents the city's bond counsel, is also here, and she can answer any questions you might have on this refunding issue. And I'm not sure if you have any additional comments or anything else you'd like to add, Julie.
Come on up.
Up to the table, please.
Came all the way out here.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Julie Eddington. I'm with Kutek Rock, and I am the city's bond attorney. Shakopee did a 2018 deal with Benedictine, and then they wanted to refinance it, so that's what we're doing at this time. There have been others who are interested in also doing additional bond deals with you if you prefer to do that. And for today, the refunding bonds provides the city with a $50,000 payment to do the refunding. If you do new conduit bonds, you would be able to have a larger fee for that as well. And so just to give you a basic understanding of what the bonds are going to do, there is, we're gonna get rid of the 2018 bonds and refinance those. And then there will be 116 independent living apartments, 43 assisted living units, and 24 memory care units, which is probably needed in the community because you're growing as you go. And that's really all I had. There's a public hearing that was adopted, and there is a resolution that will need to be adopted eventually if you so wish to move forward with this.
So let's ask questions of staff. You have a question, Mr. Whiting?
You had mentioned this might be a question for Mr. Kursky, but is this the next phase of the building in the same area that was preliminary discussed when we talked about bringing BHS out?
Mayor and council, no, this is the existing property. They're just refinancing the current debt on the property.
Oh, so that was the original
Yes.
construction we're talking about?
Yep.
Okay. Just one.
Questions on this side? Okay, so my questions, and I added the two up, and it's roughly 55.4, the 52.4 and the 3, so it's 55 million. And over 7 years, and so we're basically refinancing at 65, right? So I guess the question I have is, over 7 years, how much of the original debt was actually paid down?
That I do not have an answer to. It's been 7 years, and they've been paying that bond ever since. So 7 years have been paid off, basically.
So if they started out 7 years ago with 55 million, and now they want to refund it to 65, we don't know what the net gain is for them.
The 65,000 is a maximum.
65 million.
Correct. That's a maximum. So if there is, it likely won't be 65,000. It will probably be less.
Million.
Yes, correct.
Do you know if any of these funds from this transaction would be put into a capital account? Or is it allowed to be put into a capital account for future improvements to the property?
They would do that, those revisions as part of the bond deal.
And do you know if any of that is part, maybe staff knows that answer?
I do not, but I'm not aware of that. I think it's strictly to refinance what they have outstanding, and then an additional amount would cover financing costs as well.
All right, and do we know what the difference is between interest rates between when they took out these original bonds and to what the refinancing would be?
We don't know what the deal will be yet. We are in the process of doing a preliminary official statement so that underwriters can come and read those documents and see what they're willing to pay and what their interest rate would be.
Right. Well, the reason I ask is because most people don't refinance if it's going to cost them more in interest, right?
Right.
And I'm not hearing that we know the answer to that. Is it safe to assume it's going to be less?
I would assume that it would be less than 65,000.
Million.
Generally speaking, underwriters want to have a little extra wiggle room And that usually comes down before the bonds are finalized and paid for.
You keep saying 65,000. If that's the case, they did a stellar job on buying down their debt.
I'm sorry, 65 million.
Very good. Anybody else?
Just
Mr. Whiting?
one comment, we don't know where Benedictine living communities, where they are financially,
Right.
where they need to shuffle money. So this is something that doesn't affect the bottom line of the city.
Yep, and that was going to be the last question I was going to ask.
Okay, yeah, for the community, yeah.
My understanding is a conduit debt is, there's zero liability to the Shakopee tax base. So
That is correct.
they're basically using our credit worthiness for rates, and if they get in trouble on their own or whatever, it does not come back to the taxpayers of Shakopee.
That is correct.
And they got a good business going on.
Absolutely. No question there. All right. This is a public hearing. If there's anybody that would like to come forward and speak on this matter, please step up to the table and microphone. We'd love to hear your comments.
Thank you, Julie.
Yes. We'll see if we have any other further questions from the audience for you. Second call, if there's anybody that'd like to speak on this matter. Seeing none, Mr. Lara,
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Delaney, is there discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. What's the wishes of council? Mr. Delaney,
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution R 2025 bonds of the City of Shakopee for the benefit of Benedictine Living Community of Shakopee LLC and authorizing execution and delivery of documents in connection therewith.
I'll second.
motion by Mr. Delaney, seconded by Mrs. Contreras. Discussion on the motion. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
Item 9A, 2026 proposed property tax levy and debt levy cancellations. Mr. Reinhardt.
Good evening again, Mayor and council members. So tonight, we're asking for city council adoption of the 2026 preliminary levy and budget. The slides that were provided on August 19th are still part of this presentation, so I've included all those slides, but I've updated them since, for any changes since that August 19th meeting. I will not go through every slide. I'll just, I'll touch base on a few of those and a few changes. And I should start by probably mentioning that we have reduced the preliminary levy since that meeting. It was 6.22%, and now we're proposing 5.5%. If approved, this would set the maximum levy the city would be allowed to levy for 2026. So from this point forward, after it's adopted, we can only decrease the levy and not increase it. From a staff perspective, we're really happy with how this budget came together and what it accomplishes. We've seen a 5% growth in taxable market value, 58% of that coming from new construction, which has limited the impact on existing property owners. Based on county assessment numbers for 2026, our tax rate will see very little change from what it is today, and today we're one of the lowest tax communities in the metro, with ours being the fourth lowest out of 32 cities with a population between 25,000 and 100,000. The budget also includes a $300,000 increase for the capital improvement levy, which is a significant investment in maintaining the condition of our existing streets. So as mentioned, 32 cities in the metro with a population between 25,000 and 100,000. These are based on Met Council estimates, and then the chart is based on the 2024 city property tax calculator that the League of Minnesota Cities provides on their website, which is the most recent year available. I took this information from a survey from another city on proposed levy of metro cities. So nothing really scientific here, but wanted to provide a ballpark estimate of what other metro cities are doing for levy increases. So it does seem like 7 to 8% seems to be the normal range, with a few double-digit increases in there. We will be on the low end when it comes to levy increases proposed for next year. The preliminary city levy being proposed is $28,214,480. $430. Probably should have rounded it. It would have been much easier, right? In total, we are at 1.47 million increase, or a levy increase of 5.5%. This includes about 1.2 million in general fund operations, and then again the mentioned 300,000 increase for the capital improvement levy. Council set aside about 350,000 of positive general fund balance to use towards debt service rather than levy for next year. So there's no change in the debt service levy. And then we also preliminarily included a $50,000 increase in the EDA levy, which was approved at the last EDA meeting. Here's the summary of changes impacting the 2026 preliminary levy, again in comparison to the 2025 budget. We were able to offset about 2.1 million of expense increases through additional revenues and transfers, so that helped keep that levy percentage low. This slide is also updated from the last work session. So health insurance, I think at the time of that presentation, we didn't know what the increase would be. That's coming in at 8.3%. We had originally had that at 15%. So that was about $150,000 less in costs. Personnel costs do represent about 70% of general fund costs, so is the primary factor driving our budget for next year. Sorry. Here are the operating adjustments. This one also has been updated now that we have budget line items entered. If you recall, when we met last, we had a placeholder amount that has been removed. One of the larger changes here was the engineering contracted construction inspections, which is a pass-through. City collects engineering fees to pay for those construction inspection costs. We did also increase the revenue side for that. And then on contingency, we've increased that to 110. Well, we've added 110,000, which includes potential impacts of unknowns. Primary one on that one would be union negotiations with the fire department that are expected to happen towards the end of the year. The one-time adjustments, we also adjusted this from the previous meeting. We removed the building inspector vehicle, the public works building security cameras, and the parks irrigation controls, so 93,000 in reductions from what was presented in August. Council did approve a budget amendment to purchase those items this year, as opposed to levying for them next year. And this slide also was updated for 2026. So our tax capacity is adjusted for fiscal disparities, which again is unique to the Twin Cities metro area. 40% of our commercial and industrial growth since 1971 gets contributed into fiscal disparities pool. And then in turn, we receive a distribution based on population and market value of all property per person compared to the average market value of per person in the metro area. We are one of the larger net contributors to the program. Previous data showed we were 7th out of 179 communities. And of course, we don't know what that'll be based on this year's data, but this chart shows that fiscal disparities net contribution in terms of tax capacity based on the growing commercial and industrial base. It's gone from 2.2 million in 2017 to 11.8 million in 2016. I put the percentage of tax capacity to kind of provide an idea of how large that is. It's 10.2% of our tax capacity that we're contributing to the fiscal disparities program. And it's also more interesting to see how much it's increased over the last 2 years, about 5.6 million or 77%. So a lot of our, even though we've seen a lot of growth, a lot of it's also being lost to fiscal disparities.
But, oh, go ahead.
Just,
Delaney?
I guess for our audience, this is something that we pay that we don't really get any return from.
We would be a net contributor to the program, yeah.
And it's,
Mr. Whiting?
The commercial industrial growth over the past same period of time has not kept up with that percentage, correct? From 2017, the 4.2% to now at 10.2%. We haven't had that much increase in commercial industrial?
We've had a significant increase, so that's probably what the driving factor of that is because we've increased both new and existing values.
So, okay, existing, yeah.
Yeah, they take all commercial and industrial valuation and assess it every year
I was thinking
based on the current market conditions and the new additional development and valuation. Combine the two together to come up with a valuation, and then they take that valuation as a portion of our tax capacity. And there's deeper questions here. We'll get no answers, but it would be curious to know where exactly our contribution goes. Is there any way for us to find that information?
Yeah, so it's published. So it's published which cities are the recipients and which ones are the contributors, right? So you would be able to.
Is that something you
Take a
could
look
share
at
with
the
us,
program.
or
Yeah, so the data, I probably have, they don't have 2026 data yet, but I'll have 2025 that they have published. I can provide that to you.
if you could email that out to us, that'd be great.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about this in the past, but there's obviously more, I shouldn't say obviously, but there's more recipients, there's more benefactors than there are people that are contributing.
Well,
We
I'd
just
like,
happen to be
I'd like to
that
pick
side of
on
the
some of those that are in
Close proximity to us?
questionable financial condition requiring the assistance. Did I word that politely?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, it's a good way to describe it because it's based on commercial and industrial, and it's based on market value per capita. So you have these areas that may have higher residential values, but that's not factored into this equation. So, which
Well, it was
Depending on
their,
how you
it was,
look at that.
it was their elected bodies over the decades that made decisions to not support commercial industrial growth.
Chose to be bedroom communities.
And, you know, that's their decisions, and if them decisions cost them a loss of that revenue from commercial industrial, that's their decision, not ours. We should not be punished for their decisions.
There's other communities that very much rely on this, though, to survive.
Absolutely, there's some outstate, I get that. You certainly ain't gonna build 30 miles of road out in the middle of nowhere and expect a town of 700 to pay for it.
Right.
the fiscal disparities that we're contributing to is just Metro, would just be the Metro one.
Seven
There's-
county?
But there are other programs that are.
Seven county is the fiscal disparities?
Correct.
Okay.
There's no cap on this either, so it's going to continue to go up and up as we grow our industrial and commercial. This is just going to bubble up. Wow.
I'm just going to make one other comment I was going to make when Councilmember Whiting was asking this question. So we actually do have a pretty good, healthy mix between industrial and commercial, apartment, residential. So I mean, we compared to other cities, we have a very healthy mix when it comes to commercial and industrial, and even within those sectors, we've got different values and different types. So we're about as diverse market value as you can be as a city, which I think is excellent and healthy for a city.
Can you go back one slide, please?
One more.
No, you've got the railroad increasing by $60,000 when we're putting hundreds of $1,000s into infrastructure of the railroad crossing that they own. How does that doesn't seem to jive here on this chart? Or will that be next year?
Charge the value of the infrastructure?
I mean, the numbers coming from the county, right? So I could ask the county assessors if there's specific questions on how they determine those valuations. And I think some of the public utility in the railroad, that's also being partially driven by the state assessment as well.
Mr. Whiting?
You know, this agriculture section for payable 2025 and payable 2026 went up quite a bit, like 12 million. Now, is that through annexation or is that through the value of their properties just going up that much?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably a little misleading. So agriculture, will, a lot of times, their value will change depending on whether it's being developed or not. So they may still be in ag territory, but their value is being reflective of what the future use is about to be. So you'll see ag a lot of times,
Probably
same
asked
with the
that
number of
before.
parcels jump up and down from year to year. So here's the comparison of the city's tax rate over the past 10 years, including the 2026 estimate. So again, the 2026 estimate would be based on the preliminary budget and levy as well as preliminary assessment data. But as it stands today, slight increase in the city's tax rate to 28.57. For the median value home, this slide shows the property taxes paid since 2021. The value of the median value home has increased from $350,700 to $361,300 over the past year. That's an increase of $10,600 or 3%. For the median value home, based on the tax rate from the previous slide, this would be an increase in property taxes of $60 or 6.4%. Absent any change in value, so if you took the same median value home and didn't adjust it for its value change over the past year, they could expect a tax increase of $27 or about 2.9%.
Councilor Lara.
Mr. Reinhardt, I have a question. So I've always been wondering when this slide comes up, where are you getting these numbers? What numbers do you pull to get the median home value of our area? The reason why I ask is every time I drive around and I see the new developments, and they're always starting in like the low 500s, and then the ones that end up being built are in the 7s and 8s and higher. Is it our townhomes that drive this lower, the average lower, or what?
It's a good question. So the numbers coming from the county assessor's office. So is the median value. So it's not the average. It's the median value home. So it's the value of the home that's in the exact middle. If you lined up home values from low point to high point, right? So that obviously would be impacted by new residential that's higher value than this. That's going to shift that median value home based on those new values. And so that would be the best way I can answer that. I don't know if I necessarily answered your question, but.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I know at least with the past few presentations that we've also seen increases in existing market values too. So, so even if we've added stuff on the higher end, we've also seen increases in lower and median end as well.
And then you also have the older homes that, as they get older and older and older, they're less apt to increase in valuation because they're coming to the end of their life cycle. Good question. Continue, sir.
Sure. So this is the comparison of cost of services of a 300,000 home. So this would be for the two city utilities that we have, which is sewer and stormwater, as well as property taxes. City of Shakopee is at the lowest among our peer comparison cities at 1,094. Will continue to be the lowest, even with the proposed 2026 amounts there. In comparison, other cities range from $1,343 to $2,083. City Council will need to adopt the preliminary levy in September. At that point, we'll be unable to increase the levy, as mentioned at the start of the presentation. Proposed property tax notices would be mailed by the county in November, and then we'll ask for final council approval in December. And then tonight, I'm just asking for approval of three resolutions, three separate resolutions. The first one, 100, cancels a portion of debt service levies and allows the city to utilize existing balance to fund those 2026 payments. 101 will set the city's maximum levy for 2026. And then 102 approves the preliminary EDA levy for 2026. With that, I can stand for any further questions you have.
Questions of staff? Questions of staff? Wishes of council. Mr. Whiting.
I'll take the short one.
Don't we have to close?
No, there's no.
Oh,
Not a public hearing.
sorry. I don't even know.
Okay, all good. I'll make a motion to adopt resolution R 2025 TAC 100, canceling debt service levies for taxes payable in 2026.
Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Councilor Contreras. Discussion on the motion? Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
I'll take the second.
Councilor Contreras.
Adopt Resolution R 2025-101, setting proposed maximum of 2025 property tax levy collectible in 2026.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Councilor Delaney seconds the motion. Discussion on the motion? Discussion? My question would be, so we know what the maximum can be. is it safe to assume that between now and final adoption, staff will continue to work on looking for cost efficiencies and any savings that might be found between now and then?
We will, but I think it's important for council to understand that we pretty much squeezed this turnip.
Okay. Anything else? Mr. Delaney?
So this is basically the cap. Again, we're
The upper limit.
upper limit, okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Wishes of council?
That's the long one.
I'll be the long one here. Make a motion to pass Resolution R 2025-102, approving the preliminary levy of a special benefit levy pursuant to Minnesota Statute Section 469.033, Subdivision 6 by the Economic Development Authority for the City of Shakopee, Minnesota.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Lara. Any discussion on the motion? Mr. Delaney?
So this one is not, this is basically the levy we're,
The 550,000 levy for EDA.
The preliminary,
so
That
it's
was-
preliminary, this is max.
preliminary max, yes.
The EDA adopted it at their EDA meeting, and it was now to council to adopt. And I believe once council adopts it, then it's
It's fixed in stone.
the permanent
Permanent
levy
levy.
for the EDA. Is that a correct?
Mayor Lehman, not exactly. So we actually adjusted the resolution to allow for a preliminary levy, which would allow you to adjust between now and December. So at the city council level, if you determine you'd want to reduce that anytime between now and when the final levy is adopted, you can.
So the city council, would it then go back to the EDA?
I,
Legal question.
it would not have to be. It could be modified by the city council.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I agree with that. The wording of the resolution has changed, but, so this just creates the max for you. If you want to change it later on, I don't believe you have to go back to the EDA. That's now back before the council because
council.
you're adopting it now as the preliminary levy.
Okay.
Yeah, and last year, we adopted the final levy at this point in time, just because there was no changes in the levy from the previous year. With that $50,000 increase, and based on the EDA's discussion, I thought it was only appropriate to adopt a preliminary maximum levy right now.
Okay. Mr. Delaney?
Just, again, one more question for clarification. So I think there were two things still kind of outstanding, the $50,000 that's being added, plus I think it was a question on the adding an electric charger out at the Quarry Lake. So that's still open for negotiation. That's our discussion, or is that just, again, fixed in stone?
Well, we can lower it if the majority of the body wants to do that.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Correct?
So
Okay.
is that something you want to bring back on the workshop again?
Yeah, I still have those answers, those questions unanswered, or at least those two.
Okay. Anything else? Who made that motion?
I made the motion.
Mr.
I
Delaney
seconded.
made, and Laura. I like to write that down. All right. Any more discussion on the motion?
Just really quick, just if, like, Mr. Delaney does have those two concerns, if we could just answer them. So when it does come time to approve it, I mean, he does have his answers. I think that would be at least fair, for him to, I think he does, right?
Mr. Whiting?
To that point, can we schedule a workshop at one of our next meetings to discuss? Would that be at the EDA meeting or the council level?
That's a legal question.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, it would be a council workshop. It would be our second look at it. So you want to go back in and
Sounds like that's what.
Yes.
we'll have to do that the next meeting then.
We'll have, is there consensus, majority of this body to do that?
I'm good with it. I mean,
Yeah, fine.
I just feel if there's questions, I feel that we should
Okay.
have them answered.
Well, there's four that are willing to take another look at it, so we'll do that, Mr. Reynolds. All right, any other discussion on the motion before us?
I'm satisfied, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Item 9B, policy on modification and enhancement to city property of non-city organizations and groups. Who is leading this one? Mr. Reynolds?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. As you know, we're going through a process both in Public Works and our Park and Rec Department for accreditation. And, you know, we told you that we were going to have multiple things come before you. Some of that we had on the consent agenda. Our updated policies on finances were partly driven by that. But the whole point of the accreditation process is to look at the way we do business, try to follow best practices, and try to have something in place so everybody understands what the processes are, and that way we can treat everybody fairly and there's no surprises at the end of the day. This is something we probably should have done a long time ago. I think that's one of the benefits of the accreditation processes. It forces us to do things we probably should have done a long time ago. This particular piece is talking about when we have organizations that want to donate property or funds to do changes to city property. And 99% of the time, it's all great. It works out. There's no issues, and it's great. It's part of our partnership, and this primarily affects Park and Recs, but not totally. And so we'll have organizations that come in and they want to make some changes to a baseball field or a softball field. We see this, consistently. And then, in the past, sometimes we'll have it on the back of a napkin, and there's some misunderstandings as we're trying to get everything worked out. There's some pressure to get things done now, and then we find later on, as leadership of the organizations change, the priorities change, and then we have stuff that was built 2 years ago that may not be what they're looking for now. So what we wanted to do is to outline clearly for everybody what we will be looking at when we see those donations. And, I don't think that this will be a stop on any donations at all. I think it just outlines the process and what the considerations are for all involved. So most importantly, we want to take a look and make sure that all proposals are fully planned, budgeted, and have an estimated timeline and maintenance plan. That way, when City Council looks at it, they know exactly what the full impact of it is going to be on our future budgets. Proposals must be in time to be included in our capital planning process. As you know, we have a capital plan that's in place, and we very much need these projects not to just be working outside of that capital plan, but incorporated in that capital plan so it can all be addressed as part of the planning process and with a subsequent planning process timeline. Once submitted, proposals will be reviewed by the necessary staff and also possibly be offered for public comment. We found that sometimes we have different groups using the similar property, and if we have one group wanting to do something and when we go forward with that and then another group comes in and says, well, wait a minute, we use this too, and that wasn't what we were looking for. So we just want to make sure that everybody, or even neighbors in the area, have an opportunity to understand what's happening and then can make a comment if necessary. And then all of that information comes to you in a workshop as we normally do, and you make your considerations on what you would like to do. If approved, the projects will include a MOU of outlining future responsibility for the improvement. Once again, we don't want to have to maintain something that may only be used for a certain group, and if they want to donate it, that's great, but we don't want to have to replace it, and we don't want to have to maintain it. And then all projects will have to comply with the normal city requirements throughout the construction process, so all permitting and all things that we require all projects in course to do. The only other piece of this I think that is important to note is that the city of Shakopee, by ordinance, has had a long-term ban on outdoor advertising on city property. And there's always been a pressure since I've been here to have outdoor advertising be incorporated into our local sports fields. And we just don't do that. And we've never done that. And it's been part of ordinance for 20 20, 30 years probably. And then internally, we do allow advertising on the boards for the hockey rink, but that is for the city to offset expenses for the maintenance of the rink itself. So the rink was a very large financial commitment by the city, and so we do look at indoor advertising and as an opportunity to try to offset as best we can. So with that being said, I'll be willing to take any questions you have, and if not, I would ask you to approve this particular policy if you have no other issues.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Questions of staff?
I have a question.
Mr. Lara?
Just on the advertising part of it, so I'm reading it, and the way I understand it, so let's say there's a tournament or there's something going on, and is this talking about permanent and temporaries? Like if they wanted to put up a couple stakes with a banner on it just for that period of the tournament, and then it comes down, they're not allowed to do that either?
We have, on occasion, allowed temporary banners to be in place, but only for a very limited period of time.
Sure, so let's say it's a Friday through Sunday tournament. There's the posts go up with a banner that says this tournament sponsored by XYZ business, but then it's taken down that Sunday. Is that allowed, or does that fall under this?
That's a good question. Ultimately, we have been a little more flexible in those situations because it is a small window of time, but ultimately it's determined how you want to make it work. And my recommendation would be not to allow it, but that's me and not someone that has to answer phone calls from sports groups.
I was just curious because, I can see when it's permanent, like when they put up a scoreboard out on 17th Sports Complex, and then it's, all of a sudden they're selling advertising space on that. I get that it's more permanent structure and hard to change out. But
we typically don't allow the short-term sponsorship. We allow the short-term advertising the event.
Sure.
And I think there's a difference there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Whiting?
Well, I'm specifically thinking of some of our service organizations that have a tournament or something in town, and they've also had a lot of the businesses provide money and sponsorship, so they'll put up a sign that says, this hole sponsored by this company or something like that for that event. And also, currently we have a service organization that's put up a major installation, and I don't know if this is what's driving this discussion here, but they have major donors that they're going to be incorporating into the Miracle Field, and so that was, if I'm not sure.
And there will be a small signage, much like we have at the Fun for All playground, that will.
So sponsors and
Basically.
donors to a specific thing would not fall under advertising. It would
Correct.
fall under sponsorships.
Correct.
It would be a donation to the
Donation
city.
board of some
Correct.
sort. Okay. And they're advertising in some cases, for a major sponsorship. It's a sponsorship, but they get a big logo or whatever they do for, in this case, the Miracle Field. But the other event would be, like a short event, like your Councilmember Lara is discussing. So I would have a problem with not allowing our service organizations to promote their sponsors.
Well, it currently isn't allowed, but this is for you to determine what you want.
Right.
And we could open up
That's
all
my point.
advertising.
Well, temporary service organization events.
Let me throw a curveball in here for you, just to make it fun. So when I read the advertising portion, here's what crossed my mind. So if you're a service organization, you come to the city, let's say you want to do, Derby Days, River Valley celebration, you get a permit, you pay for the fees for the park usage, you've got all these obligations, you got to hire so many cops, you got to do all these other things, logistics. And they advertise, what band might be playing or,
Not a problem.
what beers.
Yep.
And is that because it's by permit?
No, that's because it's not, if you're advertising what band is presenting, you're not making money off the advertisement.
Okay.
You're simply giving notice to what's happening.
Okay, so it's the making money portion.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, I want to stress This is something that council determined a long time ago under ordinance. Times change. And if council wants, to rethink that, we can certainly bring that forward.
Well, and then I started thinking further, I hate to clutter the waters here, but if you were a business and you wanted to put up a banner on a field 400 feet out from home base in an effort to make money, would that be as visible to the general public as e-space?
Yes, it would be.
I don't know if some of these organizations should be putting this out on e-blast for that crowd, because they're not going to get the senior crowd that doesn't use computers, but they're going to get the younger crowd that might be more active. I don't know the answer to these questions. These are things I'm thinking about, how to help them actually achieve what they want to achieve without doing things that past councils didn't want done. And the last thing I thought about was the replacement cost on bigger items that are donated. This talks about ongoing maintenance, but really the capital plan, it's the replacement that's the big hit.
Yep.
And how do we plan for that in these donations that are larger in size?
Well, that's exactly what we're putting in place here, is to sit down and saying, we need to have that discussion, and we need a memorandum of understanding. And then they present that to council, or the staff will present it to council as part of the workshop. And you may or may not agree with that. But at least we've got something in writing, and then you can say, no, this doesn't work for us, or yes, this does. And then you can say, let's say there's something that costs $100 or $100,000.
Right.
And we figure it's probably has a 20-year lifespan, and it's probably going to cost $200,000 later. Part of the MOU we come up with is that the organization agrees to take care of the maintenance and agrees to one half of the replacement cost. Now, that's an option.
Providing they're still in operation, and if not, then...
But then the council has to say, okay, well, that means that we're accepting $100,000 of that, but you know it going into it.
Right.
And you can say, no, we want the whole, or you can say, yes, but the whole point is that everybody knows what you're agreeing to at that.
Right.
So,
Loud and clear.
anybody else before I get to my last one?
No, that made
Go
sense.
ahead.
So the last one I had was, how do we help these? I mean, we've got some great organizations.
Yeah, we really do. Great partners.
Whether it's the soccer, the baseball. I mean, we've got a ton of them that just do a great job. How do we help them be successful? They do a lot of the ground game for us. They want to raise money for this, that, and the other thing to go back into their sport or organization. How do we help them do that?
It might be the advertising. If they do have, if they have, like I mentioned, the Miracle Field, that's going to need to be replaced in however many years. And so this understanding, memorandum of understanding, the city understands it's going to be putting in a portion of it, and the service organizations that are sponsoring it
Yep.
will have to come up too.
Well, I know there's, we've all got the calls probably from the Baseball Association wanting to be able to put banners on the fences at Slepper Fields, and it's not allowed. And so how do we help these organizations make money? I know we allow concessions, they get the majority of them.
Yep, we do concessions, and we allow, them to conduct fundraising events. It's just that, and it's, don't forget, we subsidize all of this.
Right.
We subsidize the playing fields, we subsidize the ice arena, we subsidize the swimming pools. So we're putting a lot into it already. Can we put more? Sure. Ultimately, that's a decision for council. We could put a line item in our budget for support for youth operations.
Well,
I don't think that's what you want to do,
no, I'm trying
but we certainly can.
I'm trying to find out how we can help our own community and our own organizations be successful without subsidizing it. And here's a perfect example. RAR, great company. They do a lot of donating to a lot of different service organizations and sports organizations. If they were to put a sign on their building saying, we contributed to XYZ, nobody's going to see it because they're not a consumer-based company where people walk in and out the door. You'd be better off having a sign on the front window of Holiday gas station or something. Just pick that out of the air, where people would be able to see that, oh, gee, you know, they've donated to this cause. How wonderful. So I just want everybody to start thinking about some of these things.
That's not why those groups are doing that. I think those donations for the advertising component, but maybe.
Well, they want to sell a banner on a fence or whatever, and for a company, and in exchange, they get a lump sum from the company to go to their cause. That's usually how it works.
You know, we were talking about the, if you don't mind, some of those events that the service organizations put on, and they'll put their sponsorship signs up. You know, maybe it's, we allow that sponsorship signs at an annual event so that they can sell those sponsorships. They have their little event, maybe it's a tournament or whatever it might be. And they're allowed to do that because that's where they're making their money to pay for their event. I know one in particular.
That wouldn't be allowed in this unless we make some kind of a change. Right?
That's right. That's why I'd like to see that kind of carve out for service organizations that are doing a fundraising event, that we allow them to advertise their sponsors. I'm not comfortable approving it otherwise.
If we open it up for service organizations, then I'm going to have charities that want it. We're going to have other youth
Sport.
associations
Yep.
that want it.
Yep.
So,
Well, you were just talking about how we could give back.
Right. Well, I'm trying to be specific on things that are beneficial to the community. You know, service organizations are one, but we already do something special for many of our service organizations. We give them free meeting space in certain locations in the city, right? I'm talking more specifically, you know, maybe it's the soccer association or the baseball association or the basketball, all these different great organizations that we have. Some are through the school, and you know, maybe this is a discussion, joint discussion with the school district. Some of it's theirs. I don't have any of the answers. I just have the concern, you know, and I certainly don't have the answer, but I certainly want to make sure that we're helping them be successful without the taxpayers that don't utilize these things paying for it.
well, they already are.
Okay, anymore.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's important to understand, is
Yeah.
that, you know, taxpayers are footing the bill for all of this because it's city property. And my only concern is that if you open it up for one, you should open it up for all, because ultimately, staff can't be police saying, you're good enough and you're not.
Right.
You know,
Well, then you have the enforcement piece, which is
Yeah.
the cost of that
Yeah.
too.
Right, someone to be out there doing
Mr.
it.
Whiting?
The last thing I want to say, it's mentioning on the bottom of page 213 here, naming rights. And we currently have a naming policy for when it comes to parks and components of the city. And I wouldn't want this policy to circumvent that policy on naming rights specifically. So I think the naming rights should come off of this.
Unless there's a other meaning what you meant behind that.
yeah, I'm trying to remember what we did with naming rights. I'll have to
Is
take
it
a
like
look at that.
at Windermere Park, for example, and the baseball association says, "Hey, we will name this after you if you don't."
Oh, that's right. No, this is for naming rights that, thank you, Council Laura. This is for naming rights that are paid for, not, we have a policy in place that it's not naming rights, it's actually naming a city facility based upon
Criteria.
certain criteria, not someone that's just paying for it.
So can we
that's the difference.
add the, maybe sponsored naming rights or
Well, naming rights is different than naming a facility after someone.
okay. As long as we've had
Yeah,
that
yeah.
conversation, we all understand that.
Yeah, that's,
Well, here's how I'm just gonna, if you want to start on this end,
ahead.
we'll give her all of our thoughts
Yep.
going on the way down. I feel like this is a good starting point. I want everyone to know that this isn't permanent. This is something that, just like when we talked about other ordinances, like the cannabis and other things that we've done, it's a starting point, and there's always room for adjustments as time goes on. So this isn't written permanently, and yeah, so I'm fine as it's presented.
Councilor Contreras?
I agree. It is. We always have a way and a form of changing things, and I mean, we always need somewhere to start, a foundation, and this is it. And I agree. I was thinking about the signs, but then the advertising, but then you think about it, and then everybody, like Mr. Reynolds was saying, you're gonna have to give everybody the opportunity, and then you're gonna have signs everywhere, and then when is that gonna be too much?
You
So
got to place it.
exactly. So it's like, I'm perfectly fine with the way it is.
Mr. Whiting?
Yeah, I can't support it because I know there's organizations out there that currently have events where they're relying a lot on those sponsorship signs for that one-day event. So I can't support this as written.
Mr. Delaney?
Same thoughts. I mean, for me, if you have I'm gonna say youth program, say wrestling or something, they have a sponsorship, well, I guess wrestling's a bad example. It's a youth program that has some kind of sponsor coming in, they can't put signs up. I think that prevents subsidizing that event by that sponsor if they can't have the advertising.
So let me ask a clarifying question. It's one thing to have an event, you've got, I'll say the baseball tournament, just to use that as an example, and you already received donations from XYZ sponsors. So what you're saying, if I'm hearing you correct, is you're not allowed to thank them sponsors publicly during the event.
Yeah, by putting like signs up. I mean,
No, that's not what we're talking
That's
about.
not, yeah, no.
And
What
that's
we're,
what we're
what we're
clarifying.
talking about is, I've got an event, and I go to you and I say, I'd like you to sponsor this, and I will give you this banner for $500, and then you can give the money to me. That's what this is. This isn't saying,
That's how we paid for fireworks in the old days, remember?
Yeah.
yeah, this is selling of advertising for funds, not thanking
Yeah.
an organization for being part of whatever the event is.
So they can put up a small sign saying, thanks to Greystone Construction for making this event possible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's different.
Even though they gave $100 to make that event possible, to get the sign. That's what our service organizations are doing to create some revenue for their event already. So I don't want to put those organizations in already, their whole, take 20 grand out of their pocket basically by signing this ordinance. I'm not going to do that.
I'm a little confused.
There's organizations out there that'll say, hey, we're having an event. You give us $100 to sponsor this event, and we'll put a sign up thanking you for this. So they're selling advertising.
Right, but now,
It's a sponsorship to the club, but it's advertising, it's selling.
but if I'm understanding, if you have a service organization that's doing something in Hewer Park like Derby Days, they're selling advertising, right?
Yeah.
For that event, and that will be shown at the event, during the event that they paid for and are permitted to do.
And then it comes down after the event.
Right.
Because I'm thinking,
That's not what this says.
what's in my mind is, let's just, the scoreboard at the 17th Avenue field, where it's a permanent structure, and there's permanent advertisements on there that they sell. That's what I'm envisioning. I'm not envisioning.
This does not, if an organization wants to have a thank you sign or anything else for the duration of their event, that's fine. This is signage on scoreboards, on the walls of
Things that need
But
like,
again,
someone else to take it down.
it ultimately is what you want, because you made the rule many years ago. So if you want to change it, just let us know, and then we can figure out
I
what to
just
do.
think we're not clear on the finer details. And I think what you're trying to say is the materially permanent stuff is one thing, and then you have this few-day temporary stuff is another thing.
This covers permanent signage sold, much like we do the boards at the ice arena.
Yep, yep.
So like for Councilor Whiting, I like what this to me, in my opinion, this would not impede on any social clubs advertising at their event during that time.
Unless they think they can leave it there year-round. And
Right.
if they
Well,
sold it
no,
that way,
it's-
then
yeah.
they're in violation.
Yeah,
As long as those events are covered and they can advertise their sponsors for that event.
Yeah.
I don't
For
have a
that
problem.
event,
yeah.
that.
maybe,
event.
we can make one change that might help. This includes, but is not limited to the selling of permanent banner space, fence signage, scoreboards, logos, or naming rights in exchange for donations.
That would work.
Okay.
Where was this at?
On the last paragraph, we're adding the word permanent.
And there's always, in my thought, I know, like I'll use the example, the football team, they always use like Facebook and they go on there and they thank everybody. We are going towards more of the, so I think that's a great thing. We should always say, hey, why don't we use those, resources? So, I mean, I see it and I thank you to Hy-Vee for the dinner for the boys and tomorrow, whoever it is and the next person and the next person. So,
I'm
I
just
mean.
thinking of a specific event that's held during one or
big
2
thing,
days
yeah.
at
No, I
one of
get
our
it.
city facilities.
Yeah, I
Right.
don't
I
foresee
get
that
it.
being an issue.
If we, I don't know what it costs, but if we have large donors that are making our community outstanding, we as a city council and city should be recognizing and thanking them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then the service organizations come back and donate back to the city. So we don't want to hinder them.
Okay, so where are we going here, council?
So I'll start over here. Again, I'm still fine with everything how it's written, and then we just added the word permanent. So I think that should make it better.
I'm good.
Okay.
And with that change, I could accept it.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Is it
Yeah,
a,
there
is it a,
wasn't. So like the top part.
this says simple majority. Do we still want a motion?
Yeah, you'll need to have
Okay.
a motion to approve the policy.
Then, Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the policy as we discussed.
Enhancing of city property by non-city organizations and groups.
Yes, policy on modification and enhancement of city property by non-city organizations and groups,
As modified.
as modified.
I'll
Is there
second
a
that.
second? Mr.
Yep.
Whiting seconds the motion. Do we need further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Reynolds, for your patience and clarity.
Thank you.
9C, discussion on dog daycare and boarding proposed ordinance in residentially zoned areas. Mr. Kursky, thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Yes, sir, Mayor. So, city attorney drafted this up based on some other ordinances that they were able to find in neighboring communities and also from your input at the workshop. But again, this is a continuation of here we are, what other changes you want to make. This will still need to go to a public hearing at the planning commission and then come back to you because this is a change in the land use section of the city code.
Questions for staff? Mr. Whiting?
No, we workshopped this discussion, and I think that everything I read here reflected what we discussed, unless somebody else has some other things that they noticed.
Mr.
I just,
Lara?
Mr. Thompson, were you the one that helped draft this, or was someone else at your office that drafted it?
Mr. Mayor, I drafted this in coordination with another attorney in our office, but I was on top of it.
So I just have a question for you. Would you be able to give some insight as to like what maybe you pulled in from other cities that maybe we didn't discuss that got added?
Yes. A lot of it staff had already generated because we got a memo from Michael that had a lot of additional criteria. But we focused on the home occupation permit component of this, and that's not how all cities regulate it, okay? But for example, about the maximum number of dogs and the outdoor activity, what this does is add additional criteria to the home occupations portion of the code for someone who wants to get a home occupation for these specific types of uses. So we pulled in other looked at other codes to see what types of things they regulated. Sometimes it was licensing, it wasn't necessarily home occupation. But that's what we pulled in, and plus from what Mr. Kursky provided. So I guess that's the best way to put it. We try to keep it simple because the discussion at the last meeting on this was you wanted to allow this as a home occupation, and that's all we were dealing with, was allowing these types of uses in a single-family home,
With limitations.
right, with limitations. So we
Yep.
added additional limitations, and they also have to comply with the normal limitations, like they can't have more than one employee that doesn't live in the house. So all the normal conditions that apply to home occupations apply to these, plus whatever we added here, 12 or 14.
Total number of dogs,
Right.
these types of things. Does that answer your question, Counselor?
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions of staff?
I do.
Go ahead, Counselor.
I guess in like number 3, it says, in addition to the above criteria, the home occupant permit for the temporary care, keeping, sitting, boarding, or grooming of dogs not owned by the resident of the home must also fall. Why did we keep grooming in there if grooming appointments has no limits? I'm a little. I mean, I guess there's a lot of questions that I do have. And then on 3B, outdoor activities shall be limited to the rear yard fence area of the property. I think in a way, like, what about properties that don't have yard-in fences? Because there's people like in apartments, like college kids who do, the doggy sitting. Like, what happens there? We need to be, I feel like, more specific. And then like C, dogs shall not be left outdoors unattended for more than 30 minutes at a time. But shouldn't they still be supervised? Like supervised in a way of like camera, someone watching them through windows, or, because I mean, that opens doors to dogs that are stolen, dogs that are fighting, dogs that are barking. So I there's a lot of stuff. Sorry, I just.
Who wants to tackle the 3 questions?
So, Mayor and Council, we can leave grooming in its own category, which it currently has, so we can pull that out.
Okay, thank you.
I think that Councilor Contreras makes some points. Again, this is a working document. It's still got to go to the Planning Commission. But we just wanted to get some feedback, so we're getting some. And I think that there are, last time I looked, about 2,000 people offering this service currently in the city limits. So we can look at what people in apartments are offering versus people with houses. I know some people made a comment. We currently do not regulate the number of dogs you personally own, so we can make that adjustment in this to not limit the number of dogs you personally own because it's already covered by a
Right.
separate ordinance.
Thank you.
But the landlord's going to take care of the dogs in the apartment, I would think.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure the issue with the apartment
First, the
is a
landlord
concern.
would have to allow the tenant to
Right.
do it.
Right.
Yep.
And then I'm not sure if you're renting an apartment, if that's considered a home occupation.
Yes, it is.
It is, okay?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
On the grooming, we certainly can take that out, I agree. I think the reason we put it in just for discussion is we didn't want someone to claim that although they had dogs there all day, they were only, quote, grooming them and waiting for someone to pick them up. So I think, but there's no problem taking it out, because I agree, these conditions that we added are specific to dog daycare and dog boarding more than dog grooming. So we can take that out.
Okay, and then may I?
Sure, go ahead.
In the next, there's another, I'm just jumping, 3I, yeah. It says, no, hold on, is it I? Yeah, record of all animals boarded shall be maintained and made available to the city and other required agencies upon request. Question, who are the other agencies and what records will
well,
they be requesting?
If you're
It's
bit,
just
they probably want to know if you
the
got your
rabies,
rabies
right,
shot.
but like other
Animal control.
agencies, just to make sure, I mean, okay.
It might, maybe you want to board your dog at a place and you want to know if the other dogs in their care are up to date on their
Up-to-date.
shots.
Okay.
I like the idea of having a record so that
No, I do
we
too.
can say, all right, yes, you only had this many dogs.
But I just wanted to know, like, who can, who can request them? Like, who would the other agencies
So
be?
Mayor and Council, currently, so if you take your dog to one of the establishments, you have to provide vaccination records plus your vet's name in case something happens to the dog. if someone gets bit, typically it gets reported to the police department.
Okay.
And they're going to want to see that it has a rabies vaccination.
And many of them have that on their chip.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And also from a city's perspective, if we have complaints,
Right.
we want to be able to come in and see, okay, how many dogs have you had? You know, what are the issues that we're having complaints about, 5, 10 dogs running around? No, here's the records on what we have, just to be able to ensure that we are adequately policing, in the general sense, the ordinance.
You'll see it pretty quickly if they don't have accurate records.
Or the neighborhood in
incomplete records.
general, if the other 5 dogs don't belong to that boarding outfit and are just running the neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have a problem with the 30 minutes outside alone unattended. If you got a fenced-in yard, 30 minutes for a dog should be fine. I don't know what other
Well, as long as
concerns there.
they're, a stolen dog, they jump over the
Well,
fence.
we
and
can't,
That's the-
we
that's-
can't
I know,
that's
I
not on
know.
everything in
That's
here.
the, yeah, that's the
Okay.
liability of the person taking care
That's
of
the
the
risk they're taking on.
And I know one of our constituents had emailed us, and if you could give it a look, just to make sure.
Mayor and council had already sent
you did? Okay.
those to the city attorney, and
Okay.
he now go through it.
Okay. I think that's it then.
2G shall not have any receipt or delivery of merchandise, goods, or supplies except through U.S. mail, similar parcel delivery service, or personal vehicles not exceeding 1 ton. UPS and FedEx is okay?
Yep, that's currently in the
Yeah, that's our current.
city code right now.
Okay.
It's like
Who would it be
dog food
otherwise?
delivery trucks. Or what-
Well, I don't want to,
So
I don't
Ma-
want to
Mayor and
restrict.
council, that was put in because before my time, but some people were having semis come to their house
Right.
with deliveries.
Yep. I don't want to restrict a home occupation on deliveries more than their home would be if they didn't have the home occupation.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Okay, that was just clarifying because I don't know what the tonnage is on a UPS truck.
Right.
Yeah, we're not going to run out and weigh them either.
All right, anything else?
Great. Thanks for the feedback.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Sounds
Thanks.
like we're on the right path here. Nine D, proposed changes to rental ordinance, adding short-term rentals. Mr. Kursky.
So Mayor and council, this is exactly what it says. We're proposing to make changes to our current rental ordinance to include short-term rentals. So they would have to get inspected, just like our current rental properties do. You'd still be limited to the 60 days a year for short-term rentals, and then subject to all the rules and regulations that our current rental policy has.
Mr. Whiting?
Are we aware of anybody that's purchased houses specifically
Yes.
for just, so
Yes.
we're putting them out of business?
Yes, because I think one of the things we heard from all the other cities that have this, when you buy your house, you don't expect to have a hotel next to you. You expect it to be a single-family home, and that's why our ordinance requires the 60-day clause, so that you have to be basically an owner-occupant. We have a number of homes in the community that have been purchased where they're strictly renting them as a short-term rental, so you have constant turnover basically in your neighbors. You don't even know who your neighbors are because it changes weekly.
What is the impact here? How many you think?
We won't know yet. It's become a big enough issue that there actually is software that goes out and using AI finds all the homes in your community that are being rented and then gives you a list so you can see whether it's an out-of-town owner or not. But I know we have one house in particular where we get complaints 2 or 3 times a month where clearly the person's not living there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Lara?
Mr. Whiting had mentioned that that it would be putting them out of business because that's what they bought the home to do. But that's just in terms of short-term rentals. That doesn't mean they can't turn it around and use the home as a long-term rental.
Yep.
So
Or sell, you're right, correct.
So what happens if somebody rents for 45 days? And in the first 3 weeks of that, it doesn't work out and they get the boot. And now they want to re-rent it out again. they're going to be limited by that first period of time not working out, correct?
No, Mayor and Council, this is strict, short-term rental are people that rent literally for a short term. So that's a week, a weekend. Our current rental ordinance, if you rented your house for 3 months and then you had to evict the person or they left town or whatever, you can still re-rent your house. This is strictly to
that's a
regulate the
long-term-
short-term rentals. And that house would have, that you're talking about would have to be owner occupied. So you have to, maybe you go to Florida for a week or two or whatever and you want to rent your house out.
Mr. Whiting?
Oftentimes leases are 30-day leases or month-to-month leases just to have the opportunity in case there's issues to evict somebody or move on.
My bigger concern is that it has to be an actual rental where you're paying for it. I don't want to see us saying you need a permit to have your son or daughter's graduation at home, or, you're having family over for Christmas and you got a house full or something.
Short-term rentals.
Yeah.
That's different.
So it's a money exchange.
Money has to be
families.
exchanged, yeah.
Although some families might want us to, but
It's true.
So it would be a money exchange.
Yeah.
Okay?
And just wanted to mention that currently all rental properties are registered within the city. If you have a rental, you're already registered, supposedly.
A long-term rental.
Long-term rental, correct.
Any changes?
None from me.
Good.
I see Councilor Delaney saying no. No on this side. Mr. Whiting?
No, I'm fine.
You're fine? All right, looks like you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
10A, City Bill List.
No questions for me.
Missed liaison administration reports.
Oh, it's okay.
My bad, sorry. Liaison,
Where am I? Hold on.
Delaney side this time?
Okay, liaison report 169 Coalition, we are looking at basically mothballing 169 Coalition by the end of the year. We're going through that discussion now and going through the process with support from the county to make this a smooth transition. We'll have one final, have meetings leading up to a final meeting to kind of, I guess, celebrate the 169 Coalition, everything they've accomplished over the years, bring back some of the original, I guess, members to kind of, I guess, put a capstone on it, just celebrate. So that's with 169 Coalition. As far as Shakopee Public Utilities, nothing till the next meeting. Of course, TAP 2025 just happened. That was a real fun event to go to on a Saturday, so hopefully everybody had a chance to do that. And then we had the swearing in of Chief Joe Simon.
Mr. Whiting.
Either.
Just the other day, we had the MBTA Executive Committee meeting. We discussed, we had a Freedom of Information Act requesting information on our salaries and some discussion and some press on that. So we actually had the third-party salary compensation study people come in and discuss how they came up with their information and data. And there's going to be some more information coming back with that. But if you have any questions on that, definitely can fill you in how we came up with those decisions.
All right. Anything else, sir?
That's it.
Thank you. Councilor Contreras?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll start off with my SCAL meeting. I obviously forgot my notes. That was last Friday. But, so we had Superintendent Andrew Volmuth from New Prague Area Schools, who gave an update from the area, the New Prague Area Schools. Let's see. And then the second part was Happy Birthday, Bloomington Ferry Bridge. It's coming close to the 30 and meanwhile, Fred Corrigan talked about the background, and he said to watch out for what's coming from Scott County Historical Society coming for 2026 to celebrate the 30th year. And then we had the second part of the fire panel discussion on how our communities are changing in the last 5 years, where they're going, where they are, where they think that they're going, the challenges and opportunities that come with this vital public safety service. And then, let's see, where am I? Sorry. I attended the ribbon cutting for Leanne Chin's, attended the TAP 2025 kickoff, the dinner kickoff, which was a great, social event, and all our entrepreneurs that were there. Attended the ribbon cutting of the Legacy Central today, and then attended the CAP Agency 60th anniversary community event that they had. And then last but not least, I also attended the swearing of Chief Joe Simon. Just busy, that's all.
Very good. Mr. Lara?
All right, let's see. So I'll start with, after the last meeting, attended the swearing in of Chief Joe Simon. Let's see. TAP 2025 kickoff dinner with entrepreneurs, business leaders, and other elected officials. Leanne Chin ribbon cutting. The next day was the TAP 2025 event. Hot, but a very good event overall. Yesterday was a school board meeting. So one thing that they were talking about is there's been assessments being done to end the facilitating of after-school and before-school childcare with the YMCA, and the school is, community education is looking to bring that under the school district. So they're currently in the planning process to have that implemented by the fall of 2026 to no longer use YMCA. And I guess what happens is the YMCA pays rent to use the facilities after and before school, and what they're hoping that is then the revenue driven from that would then go back to the school district directly versus pass-throughs. Let's see, it is School Board Appreciation Month, so they were recognized for their contributions, and they are still making progress with their special election. Greystone Construction has signed on to be an Academy champion, so congratulations and thank you to them. And then today was the CDA Legacy Central ribbon cutting, great facility for them. And then the CAP 60th anniversary community event was this evening as well.
Very good.
School board know we appreciate them.
Will do. Yes.
My report, Friday was the Leanne Chin's grand opening at the Dean Lake Boulevard new location. What else do we have? Friday evening was the TAP 2025 dinner at the landing. I said a few words. Foundry, good to see some of our businesses down there. G&N was there, GNR. They were there. It's good to see them. Had a good conversation with them. Saturday was TAP 2025 downtown. Gotta say, Badger Hill's got a great non-alcoholic beer. It was the best one down there in my palate opinion.
Chelsea liked it too.
Can't help it.
Enjoy it.
One other place had a great Sassy Frass homemade root beer. Oh, that was good too. So yeah, that was a good time. A lot of good folks having a good time, which is always good. And I messed up my calendar here. And then today, the CDA had their grand opening and ribbon cutting at the Legacy Central, which was the old Central School building, 5th, 6th, Home Street, Lewis Street, that block where they're going to have like their other designs, a one-stop shop type design where they've got their administrative building or up front with apartments behind. I think that's 55 plus, I think. And income-based. While I was talking down there today, a couple of things that came to mind was, I think the last high school class to graduate when that was a high school was 1975. My older sister brought that to my attention. She's coming to town Saturday for their 50th reunion, and she was the last grade that graduated in that school as a high school. It was used after that for other grades.
My
for many
son was in
years.
the grade that was the last for the middle school era, the last schools that was in.
So that was kind of a cool, refreshing memory. It's great to have a lot of these we're the county seat, so we get the benefit of having many of these county services very convenient for the citizens, residents of Shakopee. Granted, the county does a lot of things that cities don't do. Cities do a lot of things counties don't do. But being that we're all pretty much centrally located here on many services is in itself a convenient benefit. So I see Commissioner Brennan's here. Thank you for attending tonight.
Thank you.
And I believe that's the end of my report. Mr. Reynolds?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have one, just kind of an announcement. Our Fire Marshal, Tom Pitt-Snyder, is celebrating his 40th year with the city of Shakopee. 40 years with us. And I think that's remarkable. But, I know most of you know Tom. Tom is an exceptional public servant, very caring about the city, always has been, is always looking to do the right thing for its residents. And so if you have an opportunity, don't hesitate to reach out to him and thank him for his 40 years of service. It's well-deserved, and, as he's talking about what he's going to do later, and so part of our succession planning, we brought somebody in to work under him now for a while, depending on when Tom ultimately wants to retire, but he's spending time instructing this individual on 40 years of knowledge about the city. So that's pretty amazing to have somebody there that, I don't know. Well, ask Tom. And a lot of times Tom will have the answers. So hats off to Tom and his wonderful family. And I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of Tom Pitt-Snyder's 40 years here in the city.
Congratulations.
And that's all I have, sir.
City bill list, any questions on that? I kind of glossed over it.
None for me.
Okay. 10B. I think we started on this side. We'll start over here this time. Delaney?
Okay, Shakopee Fall Food Truck Festival. The Fall Food Truck Festival is taking place on Saturday.
The microphone, please.
Speak up here, okay. The Fall Food Truck Festival is taking place on Saturday, September 20th, 2025, from 11 to 8 p.m. I will definitely be there at the landing. Enjoy delicious food and beverages from more than 30 food trucks, plus live music and family-friendly activities throughout the day.
Thank you, sir.
All right, fall cleanup days coming right around the corner. Start lining up on 4th Avenue tonight. It's actually October 18th at 7:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., so you could probably wait a little bit. It's out in the Public Works facility.
Thank you, Mr. Whiting. Excuse me, cardboard recycling bins, in case anybody that uses them have been down and noticed, they're moved just slightly to the north, still visible from the other location. 500 Gorman Street building. Parking lot's getting reconstruction between September 15th and October 10th. So during the construction, it will be located on the parking lot just north, 400 Gorman Street. So continue to use it, break your stuff down, make sure you put in the container so don't blow around the city. Appreciate that very much.
All right, fall yard waste drop-off. Dakota Prairie Compost is offering free, yes, you heard that right, free fall yard waste drop-off from October 1st through the 31st of 2025. Drop off your yard waste at 12386 Chestnut Boulevard. Shakopee residents must show ID. Monday through Thursday, 7 to 7, Friday, 7 to 5, Saturday, 8 to 2, and Sunday it's closed. And that is over by the Renaissance.
It's on 41, just over the railroad tracks. If you're going north on 41, after you cross the tracks, you make a left.
Go to the left lane
Yep.
quick, yeah.
There you go. Thank you.
All right, Fire Department open house. The Shakopee Fire Department will have their annual open house on Monday, October 6th from 5 to 7 p.m. This is a free event. No registration is required.
Very good. Mr. Delaney.
All right, Jackson Commons and Farmstead Bike Park grand opening. That is a great park. You haven't been over there. The Jackson Commons and Farmstead Bike Park grand opening celebration will be on Saturday, September 27th at 10 a.m. at Jackson Commons Park. And I may bring my bike and try one of those trails. I don't know. We'll see.
And I'm going to record it.
Mr. White.
This is important. Scott County is hosting 2 public meetings for the upcoming transportation projects in partnership with the city of Shakopee. The first meeting will be on for county CH16 modernization project between CH18 and TH13. This meeting will be held Tuesday, September 23rd from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at the McCall Pond Environmental Learning Center located at 13550 Dakota Avenue South in Savage. The second meeting will be for the CH-17 reconstruction project. This meeting will be held Tuesday, September 30th between 4:30 and 6:30 p.m. at the Scott County Public Works Building located at 600 County Trail East in Jordan. Residents interested in learning more about these projects are invited to attend these meetings, which will be informal and no presentations will be given.
Thank you, Mr. Whiting. I do plan on attending the Marshall Road open house that the county is putting on. Heard a lot of comments from some of the residents, and I told the residents I would go and listen and help facilitate their comments being heard, or at least documented. Good list of great things happening, so awesome, awesome, awesome. Item 11, other business. Other business?
Nothing here.
I'm good.
Wishes council?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to adjourn to October 1st, 2025 at 6 p.m. This meeting will be held at the Scott County Government Center.
Second.
Second to the motion. We have a motion second. Any discussion? Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We're adjourned.